Hey, what do you mean, you people? It's me, the immutable, unstoppable Kevin Chaos. You can't see, but I've cleverly held my clothing together with a pair of pliers. Yes, don't worry about all that. Back here once again at Ape Coast Studios, in fear for my life, for my safety. Okay, we won't exaggerate. Just in fear of losing the studio. We're in fear of losing the studio. It's possible, it's potential. We don't want to do that, so there is a good chance there will be a fundraiser. To be straight with y'all, things have been, going and stuff. I got this free shelf, this beautiful display for you behind me, and so now it's a little more natural feeling in here. I think. I don't know how these things work. I don't generally ask for money, but right now I am fucking asking for money. I need to raise like $500 fucking dollars. Yesterday, I needed it. Yesterday, and so I need it today, and I will be needing it tomorrow. I am not presently with the job that I was working before. It's a temporary suspension at this point. We'll see exactly what happens with all of that. But in the meantime, I have work starting tomorrow, so I'll be working. I'll be at work at 4 a.m. Tomorrow morning. You gotta do what you gotta do. Not too bad. I'll be doing something having to do with bottling or labeling wine, or packing wine, or something having to do with the process of getting alcohol to the peoples. And we know how much Americans love their alcohol. Yeehaw! On that note. The people have vacated, and so have I. So it won't be too long. It'll be a short one. I'm gonna take some THC, which you can't see behind me is on the shelf here, but that's what I need to get a few hours of sleep before tomorrow's lovely festivities, where I'll be back to making that money. But that's not necessarily what we're here to talk about tonight. And see, I can't tell which way my shirt is going because the clip's over here. But my shirt's like, it's trying to pull on me because of this pair of pliers that I have. Well, it kind of works better with the pliers in the front, actually. I keep the pliers in the front, business in the back. I mean, my all-time favorite band of the century, and this is one of my all-time favorite shirts of the century. And unfortunately, when we cut it, this side got ripped, and so it should be a muscle shirt. Feeling physically fit, and that's part of what we'll talk about. This is what I want to talk about tonight. Masculinity. Why? A big part of my decision to label and identify as queer, non-binary was an ethical decision to move away from stereotypical masculinity as I perceive it, and I think a lot of peoples perceive it. So I think the stereotypical view of masculinity is tied into a lot of toxic behavior that we should not condone. We should condemn it, and that's a lot of why I'm now gravitating towards an anti-masculine stance societally, in terms of the overall society. Now, I think there can be positive and benign forms of masculinity, but I also think that many things that we associate with masculinity are in fact non-binary in their essence, in their core. They could be masculine, they could be feminine, they might just lie somewhere in between. So that's what we're talking about tonight, and I'm going to go check the stream, make sure everything doesn't sound like horse bucky, and I'll play another video here. I've got one lined up in the pipe. I saw Germania God was selling in the chat earlier. I was playing a little video of me working on an amplifier of mine in here in the studio, which is mainly what I've been doing. Some of these amps are 10, 15, or more than 20 years old, and haven't really been properly serviced in a long time, if ever. So that's been one of my major projects, just to figure out how to keep these amps running as they are right now in whatever capacity, and maybe improve some of that. So that's what I was wanting to do. I went to the wrong one. Go back, damn yous. It's not showing me. I don't know why it wouldn't show me when I'm looking at live broadcasts. It's just counterintuitive. 108 subscribers. Last I checked. You see the sexy pic of me in the bathroom? You're welcome. I love that shit. That's one of the things I think, that stereotypical male, like what is, and then you got like this picture of like whoever, Arnold Schwarzenegger or somebody in your head, and it's kind of, it's tired. And we know there are drawbacks to being that muscular, physically speaking, which just makes it kind of absurd. But yeah, so I think I'm just having issues with the audio on my end, or maybe there's no audio here, and I'm just talking into the ether. I don't know. Everything appears to be as it should in my settings. So now I'm extremely confused. I hope we're working. Is this thing on? You can hear me, right? Like, no? Nobody? It says my microphone's working, so I'm just trying to. Oh shit. Yeah, so a lot of these perceptions about male roles and the behaviors we should display, I'm kind of just hoping I'm being heard at this point, because when I tested my headphones and my microphone through StreamYard, it says yes. A lot of our role models, right? Like, so these kind of classic role models, like I said, the bodybuilders, the muscle man, actually tend to end up being really toxic people. They have bad behaviors, and I can think of a lot of examples of that in my life, and a lot of the things that my parents felt they did wrong. I should say parent, exclusively to my mother, specifically, because what she felt she did wrong was not having that masculine authoritative figure consistently in her life, and yet at the same time acknowledges that when my biological father, actually tried to play that role, it was extremely toxic behavior. So what we conceive as being that is this dominance. Yeah, I'm looking at, I did write a few notes. This role of dominance, this dominance hierarchy that we have established, and a lot of cultures, not all, but many cultures, and the way we perceive dominance in the male form is through force. It's usually through force or by intimidation, right? So that's kind of the idea, is when it's used force against one guy, or if you're you're merely imposing enough in stature, then you don't necessarily have to use force the next time. You can only threaten force, or just simply exert this visible dominance, which I mean, I can see the utility in it in nature, but in our society, it seems to be associated with a lot of really toxic behavior and a toxic mentality about the way one should get what one wants, right? And you could associate that to something like rape. And I was actually thinking about this earlier when I was thinking about, like all the really strange things that I am into personally, and yet rape is something that I can't jive with. Even rape fantasy, and I've tried to do this with my partners, at their behest, and had a really difficult time trying to perform under that distressed circumstance. And it's a pretty uncommon knack, I think, to actually be a rapist. But it does tie into a very overblown sense of this masculine dominance that a lot of us place as kind of this important piece, this key in the structure of the way societies are built. And I think a lot of that's wrong. It creates a lot of hostility, a lot of tension, a lot of resentment. It plays out in our fashion. So to give you an example, the most utilitarian fashions now are designed for males, in a large part is because of what they found useful during battles, during altercations, right? And a lot of people don't really see it that way, but as a man, you can see how much of the feminine garb can be imposing when you're actually trying to defend yourself. Which is why a lot of jobs require you to wear what we consider very masc garb, pants, shirts, no jewelry, none of this or that hangs off you, or which is sensible in a lot of cases if you're doing labor and construction and things like that, which are again very stereotypically masculine exploits, right? But it's not necessarily, and it never is. And so the problem is that whereas masculinity tends to generate a lot of very negative stereotypical traits, such as this egotism and this superficial dominance, this exertion of force to impose one's will. Femininity, on the other hand, third time's a charm, does not impose it, right? So there's an imbalance here. Femininity is generally associated with nurturing and caring and things like that, which it absolutely can be, but by all means, masculinity should include those things too. So I think until we get that imbalance resolved in our societies, there's reason to take pause and wonder what we really identify with as peoples and what's important to us. So that's why I take the anti-masc or anti-masculine position. And going forward, I hope you'll think about it as well. And that's about the gist of today's presentation, which is not much of a presentation. I'm probably going to try to host a fundraiser tomorrow. Definitely need to raise some monies by Friday. I'm a little desperate. I'm trying not to convey it to you. So have a great evening. Be kind, be true to yourselves, and stay trusty to everyone else. And I'll see you next time.